Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sorry, I did not start recording the voice. So now I activated my microphone and inshallah it will be fine. So our exam will have 4 parts. The first part is the multiple choice questions. Of course, the multiple choice question, to answer them correctly, you have to read carefully your questions. Simple questions and easy to answer them. So the first question is, what is the number of protons and the neutrons in the cation with the mass number of 55 and the atomic number of 25? To answer this question, you need to know what does it mean, the mass number, and what does it mean, the atomic number. The atomic number is the number of the protons. And the mass number will be the number of the protons plus the number of the neutrons. So here will be the number of protons plus the number of neutrons. Now, how many protons and neutrons I do have in this cation? Of course, this question is, you ask yourself, so why he gave me the cation and a plus, 2 plus? Yes, it doesn't have a meaning here in my question because I'm looking for the number of protons and neutrons. I find them in the nucleus. So, and an atom cannot lose neither protons nor neutrons. It can lose only electrons. So here, the first question asked me, the first answer is 55 protons and 25 neutrons. This is completely wrong because why? Because 55 is the number of the neutrons and the protons. So this one is wrong. Then he asked me, it is 30 protons and 30 neutrons. Bismillah, mashallah. 30 neutrons is correct because 55 minus 25. But I have 30 in my element. I have 25, but he asked me 30 protons. So this one also is wrong. You have to be careful. Question D. Bismillah, mashallah. Here he reversed the definition. Means he proposed for me 55 protons, which is completely wrong. Because 55 is the number of the protons and the number of neutrons. So this one is wrong. C will be the correct choice. Why? Because I have 25 protons and the number of the neutrons will be equal 25. Number of the neutrons will be 55 minus 25 and will be 30 neutrons. So this one is my correct answer. Right, the next question will be, he asked me, what is the approximative or the approximate percentage composition by mass of the element oxygen in the compounded aluminum sulfate? So, before I answer this question, I have to know what does it mean the mass percentage. The mass percentage of an element in a compound. So, here will be equal, for example, oxygen percent in mass will be equal the mass of oxygen divided by the molar mass of my compound. Of Al2SO4. Of course, multiply by 100. We have seen this definition in chapter number 3. Please check your definition again. So here, be careful. When I write this one, what does it mean? Here means what? That when I do my calculation, I have to find the oxygen percent. One of your friends will tell me equal 16. divided by the molar mass of the aluminium sulfate. Sorry, this one is 50. The molar mass of aluminium sulfate will be equal 342 grams. Have we got it? The molar mass of the aluminium sulfate will be equal the masses of 2 aluminium, 2 moles of aluminium, plus 3 times the masses of 1 mole of sulfur and 12 times the mass of moles of oxygen. And they will get these masses from the periodic table. A simple example how to calculate the molar mass of a compound. The molar mass of the compound will be equal the sum of the masses of the elements that form this compound. And this one, be careful. How many oxygen I do have here? I have 4 and 3 multiplied by 12. It's not only 60. Multiplied by 100 because it is 100%, and the answer will be 56%. The answer will be 12 multiplied by 16 divided by 342 is 56%, and this is my choice. So this one I cannot predict, so I have to do the calculation. So this one is wrong, this one is wrong, this one is wrong. One of them was 16 divided by 342 multiplied by 100 equal 4. So this one, there is no relation at all with this one. And this one will be equal about 56%. Clear. Now he asked me in this one the same. So I will ask you your attention when you do these examples. Here it is what? Here it is a chemical equation, and they ask me to do the calculation for the chemical equation. First of all, when I deal with the problems with chemical equation, first of all, I have to be sure that my equation is balanced. We check now. I have 2 ions. Here I have 2 ions. Here I have 3 oxygen, and I have also another 3. So it will be 6 oxygen, and here I have 3 multiplied by 2, 6. How many carbon I do have here? I have 3 carbons, and here I have 3 atoms of carbon. Jazallah khairan. The doctor gave me the balanced chemical equation. No, don't be happy. Sure, you will have an example. A question is where you have to do the balancing by yourself. So here asks me, when 2 moles of carbon monoxide react completely with an excess of iron 3 oxide, according to the above equation, how many moles of iron are produced? When I solve this problem, Jazallah khairan, it is a simple problem. Why? Because he gave me the amount of the reactants in moles. So how I solve this problem? I have to read directly my chemical equation, and I suppose you know how to read a chemical equation. صح أم لا? Otherwise, it will be الطامة الكبرى if you don't know how to read a chemical equation. We did it in the lecture, and everything should be fine. So how I read this equation? How I read this equation? So simple. 3 moles of carbon monoxide produces 2 moles of iron. This is from my balanced chemical equation. How many moles I react? I react 2 moles of carbon monoxide. Will give me X. And X will give me, will be the cross product. 2 multiplied by 2 divided by 3 will be 4 multiplied by 3 will give me 1.33. And my choice, of course, 1.33 moles of iron. So here I show you the easy one. maybe with your teacher, you have used the conversion factor. Give you the same answer, do not worry. So 1.3. It should not be 3, because I don't have here. It should not be 1, because you see from this one, 3 moles produces 2 moles, so I react here 2 moles, less than 3. So the answer will be less than 2. So this one is out. This one is out of the game. It could be 1 or 1.3. So the next question will be, which element is a solid state? This is related to chapter number 2. Why? Because, or chapter number 1. Here he gave me what? He gave me the neon gas as its name. The chlorine gas, this one is carbon monoxide gas. So this one will be what? My correct answer will be the magnesium. Why? Because we said in the periodic table, all the metal elements are except mercury, which is liquid. So magnesium belongs to group number 2. So it should be a solid, is not a gas. Neon is a gas. Chlorine is group number 7, halogen, so it's a gas. And this one, the carbon monoxide gas. And also told me which element. So this one is a compound. So this one automatically is wrong. Be careful, do not confuse with this one. Cobalt, C small o. This one is the element cobalt. But in my case, I wrote capital O and capital C. So this one is carbon monoxide, and this one is the element cobalt. So please be careful. We are studying science, and we have to write properly the symbols of the elements and the chemical formula. Type here. Which substance cannot be decomposed chemically? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is by definition will be what? You see here he helped me. He guided me. He told me here which substance. If I remember chapter number 1, matter is divided into families, pure substances and mixture. Sahamla. So here he asked me substance. Air is a mixture. So this one is completely wrong. Out of the game. Now I have what? Now I have 2 compounds. Carbon tetrachloride and carbon dioxide. By definition, I can't decompose them chemically. So this one will be wrong and this one will be wrong. The remaining is potassium. Potassium is an element, and by definition, an element I cannot decompose it chemically, neither physically. So my choice will be automatically B. The element potassium belongs to group number 1. Correct. I guess now you got an idea how to answer the questions. Type now. Which sample presents a pure substance? I already did it in question number 6. A pure substance could be what? Could be an element or could be a compound. A pure substance, pure, a single. A pure single means one substance. Orange juice is a mixture, is formed of more than one substance. So this one is wrong. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So since I delete this one and it was out of the game because it is a mixture, so I have to follow up the story. This one also, your friend will tell me sodium chloride is a compound. Yes, sodium chloride is compounded when it is pure substance in a solid state. But here, be careful, it is in aqueous. So means it is in a solution. And the solution is a mixture. So this one is wrong. Khalas now. We know what to do now. So this one is a mixture. because it is in solution. We have seen this one, Bismillah, in the practical in chapter number 4, and also in definition in chapter number 1. A solution is an example of a homogeneous mixture. The same, this one, our friend hydrochloric acid in the practical, and also it is aqueous, so this one also is a mixture, it is not a pure substance. So بقى ماذا? The pure substance is the compounded carbon dioxide, and this one is my choice. I guess now it is easy and simple to answer this question so far. Then question number 8. In question number 8, he asked me, which of the following isotopes has the lowest number of neutrons? Now, what does it mean here? Here I have to calculate the number of neutrons for each isotope. We have seen question number 1. The number of the neutrons will be equal what? The mass number minus the number of the proton, which is the atomic number. صح أم لا? How I get it this one? We gave you the periodic table in the midterm exam, not for decoration. You have to use it. صح أم لا? So now I have to find out what is the atomic number for each of these isotopes. صح أم لا? So I will check from my periodic table. It is easy with me. It will be provided to you, and so should not be a big problem. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is from my periodic table. Chromium 24. Bismillah. So I got the chromium at 24. So simple operation to do it. How many neutrons I do have here? I will have 52 minus 24. And I will get 28 neutrons. I cannot answer my question here because ask me the lowest number of the neutrons. So I have to find it for all the other elements. For the other element, zirconium. Zirconium is a transition metal element. I will find it in the middle of the periodic table, and it has 40. So the atomic number of zirconium, 40. How many number of neutrons I do have here? 91 minus 40 means here I will have 51 neutrons. بعدين xenon. Xenon is what? Is a noble gas. It will be in the group number 18, and it will have 54. The atomic number is 54. Simple question. Cup of tea, homogeneous mixture. So the number of the proton will be 131 minus 54, and this will give me 77. I do my example. 131 minus 54 will be 77 neutrons. The last one, rubidium. Rubidium is in group number 1. So, and it will have, how to say, atomic number 37. So, rubidium will have an atomic number of 37. And they will do 37 minus 85. It will be what? 48 neutrons. So, which one will have the least number of neutrons, or the lowest number of neutrons? How you should know? Now, 28. 28 is the smallest number. So this one, my answer, chromium 52. So I ask you here, please, do not be afraid. لا تخاف. When you read the question, I couldn't read it I couldn't understand for the first time. I will read it again and again, at least 3 times. Mashallah, our exam will be for 80 minutes, so you have plenty of times to read. And the English also has been selected easily and simple English. Type here, you ask me what? An element has the following relative abundance: x34, 15%, x35, 20%, x36, 65%. And here what he asked me, if I remember what I have seen in chapter number 3. So here he will ask me, what is the average atomic mass of this element X? So the average atomic element of this X will be what? Will be equal the average of the masses of the isotopes of this element. Right. If I get my question, first of all, I will try to find what are the wrong answers. One of them, see, the atomic mass of this element, or the average atomic mass of this element, cannot be determined without knowing exactly what X is. Means I should know what is X means. What is the element X? No, you don't need to know it. Why? Because if you know what doesn't mean X. So, and the average atomic mass, or the atomic mass, is the average of all the isotopes, the masses of the isotopes. And here, Bismillah, he gave me the masses of the isotopes and their percentage, abundance percentage. So, khalas, it will be easy now how to do this example. So, how I do this example? So, the mass, the atomic mass of this element, please check chapter number 3, or the average atomic mass, will be equal what? 34 multiplied by 0.50. This one is the first isotopes and its percentage, plus 35 multiplied by 0.2. 20%, I replace it 0.2, plus 36 multiplied by 0.65. Equal. This is the average. Why? Because he gave me percent 100. So what does it mean here? In 100 atoms of this element X, I have 15 atoms with the atomic mass 34. I have 20 atoms with the atomic mass 35, and I do have 65 atoms with the atomic mass 36. So here will be so simple. 35 multiplied by 15 plus 35 multiplied by 0.2 plus 36 multiplied by 0.65 equal 35.5, and here is my answer. 35.5. Type here. Sorry, this question was replaced, but anyway, we have this question also. What is this question here? He told me, which two elements will display the most similar chemical properties? So here I have to see the periodic table. So what does it mean? The elements of the same group have the same properties, chemical properties or physical properties. So here my question, my answer will be easy. I have to find which is the couple, which is the pair of these two elements. They are what? They are situated in the same group. Whatever could be metal or non-metal. So here, if I check aluminum and nitrogen, Bismillah wa masha'Allah, aluminum is metal and nitrogen is non-metal. So this one is wrong. They do not belong to the same group. Now I have also lithium and calcium. Lithium group number 1. Calcium belongs to group number 2. So they are not in the same group. So now I have only two choices. One of them is our friend. We have seen this one in the practical. The halide group. The halides anion means what? Chlorine and iodine belongs to the same group, the group 17 or the group 7 or the group of the halogens. So this one is my correct answer. So simple. How about iron and copper? Iron, they are transition metal element. I will find them in the middle of the periodic table, but they will not have what? The same they will not belong to the same group from my periodic table. So it's easy to find it. صح أم لا؟ One question is missing here. What is the question? How to balance the chemical equation. How to balance the chemical equation, which is missing here. Right. I will write it. So, question. Copy and paste. Yes, here it is. So, copy and paste to the model. Yes, here it is. Right. I don't have to worry about the one, but I will do it, inshallah. So ask me here, when the following equation is balanced. So what they asked me here, I have to balance my chemical equation. Then what will be the value of the coefficient B? Means here when I balance my chemical equation, what will be the value of B? And I will know it only after balancing my chemical equation. صح أم لا? Yes. We do it inshallah. Now I will suppose that I am a student. I will check how many carbon I do have here. 1. How many carbon I do have here? 1. Next, here I have hydrogen, but hydrogen here is in 2 elements, in 2 compounds, so it will be difficult. I will check with what? With the chlorine. How many chlorine I do have here? 2. And how many chlorine I have here? 3. This is the problem. So how will I do the balancing now? Here something will attract my attention. Which is this one? Here I have 6 hydrogen. And here I have 2 and 2. 6 will be equal what? 6 will be equal 2 plus 4. Or 3 plus 3. Or 4 plus 2. This is the 3 situation. So here since I have 2 and here I have 2. So here it will be easy to get 2. And how many hydrogen I will get here? I will get 6. So I have to multiply by 2. How many chlorine I will have here? 2 chlorine. And here it will be 1. How many chlorine I have here? 2. Or, now the problem will be, doctor, hang on, there is something wrong. What is wrong? Carbon 2. Something is wrong here. No. There is nothing wrong. How I correct this one? So simple. How many hydrogen I have in all here? I have 6. Here how many hydrogen I have? 4. And this one will be 1. That's it. And this one, I will correct this one properly. And this one will be 1. So what will be my answer? B equal 1. Here the idea comes from where? Because here I have 3 and here I have 2 and 2. So it will be easy. 3, it will be difficult to write it equal 1.5 plus 2 or 2 plus 1, etc. So be careful. Sometimes it's simple how to solve a chemical, how to balance chemical equation. So this one is wrong, this one is wrong, this one is wrong. Right, the next one. So we finish with the multiple choice question. Now we go, inshallah, to the true or false. Right, now I will correct for you why it is true or why it is wrong. So like that you will have both together. So the first question is, so Be careful. For the true and false, you have to read your sentence carefully, means word by word. And take your time to read it. So here, the name of the compound, CaCl2, is calcium trichloride. One of your friends, he is a little bit genius. What he will say? He will say, the doctor here gave me tri, means 3. However, here I have 2. So this one is false. But correctly and scientifically, this one is ionic compound. In the ionic compound, I will not use tri, mono, di, etc. I use mono, di, and tri only for molecular compound. So this one is ionic compound. I will not use di and tri. So what will be the correct answer for this one? Calcium chloride. So this one is wrong. This one is a trap. Fakh. Unfortunately, so many students, they make it wrongly the correction. Why? He read carefully. The molecular mass of carbon monoxide is equal to 28 grams. The normal student what will say? The molecular mass will be equal to 12 plus 16. And he will get 28. And he will say it correct, I got it. So my answer is true. No, you have seen only the half part of the sentence. The second part, he gave me what here? The unit. The unit was in gram. And this one should be for the molar mass, not the molecular mass. So what is the unit of the molecular mass? Is the atomic mass unit. So this one is wrong. This one should be what? The atomic mass unit. Is not a gram. Type the next question. The Avogadro number. By definition, this one I will not do any thinking. If I know the definition, I will make it correctly. If I do not the definition, khalas, finish. I will not do. The Avogadro number is the number of the atom in 1 gram of exactly in 1 gram of carbon. 12 and is not 12, 13. So this one is wrong by definition. You see, chapter number 2. 3, we didn't talk about the carbon 13. We are talking always with the carbon, with the isotope, carbon 12. The isotopes contain the same number of neutrons in their nucleus. Oh, hang on. This one, we have seen this question previously. When I calculate the atomic mass, the isotopes should have what? He told me 34, 35, 36. So they will have different number of neutrons and is not the same number. So this one is false. How we correct this one? Isotopes contain the same number of protons and not neutrons. And this is by definition. Isotopes have different mass number. Means what? They have different mass number of neutrons. Be careful this one. Aluminium oxide is a homogeneous mixture. Oh, hang on, doctor. We have seen previously this one in the previous questions. Which one is a pure substance? So, and our choice was for the compound. So the aluminium oxide, it is a compound. It is a pure substance. It's not a homogeneous mixture. So this one is wrong. The correct answer here will be aluminum oxide is a pure substance, or aluminum oxide is a compound. Ionic compound also, because aluminum is metal element. In a chemical reaction, the number of moles of the reactant should be equal the number of moles of the product. بسم الله ما شاء الله. This statement ما أنزل الله به من سلطان. Why? Your friend will tell me, oh, hang on, doctor, I know that in a chemical reaction, the law of the conservation of mass. Yes, correct. But here, I don't have a law of the conservation of number of moles. The number of moles of the reactant could be equal, could be different, could be higher than the number of moles of the product, or could be lower than the number of moles of the product. But here it told me what should. لزوم, wrong. So this one wrong. So how I can correct this answer? In a chemical reaction, the number of the moles of the reactant could be equal to the number of the moles of the product. And there is a difference, a big difference between in English, between could and should. Or another version of this correction, in a chemical reaction, the masses of the reactant should be equal to the masses of the product, the law of conservation of mass. Now I come back to my friend, my cup of tea. For the students who's taking these courses with me, always I give them an example. It is so easy as a cup of tea, homogeneous mixture. So this one is wrong. A cup of tea as orange juice is a homogeneous mixture, is not a pure substance. The same, you see, question number 5 and 7 are related. So if I understand what aluminum oxide is a pure substance, automatically cup of tea will be a mixture, and it is a homogeneous mixture. Type here, the limiting reactant. So, the students always asked you what? Please be careful when you read these questions. The student who reads this sentence, he will say the true. Why? Because he will say the limiting reactant is consumed first. It is true. Yes, it should be true when? When the limiting reactant is the reactant. But here, what he told me here is the product. So what is the relation between react and the product? Nothing. So there is no relation between reactant and the product. So this one is completely wrong. How I correct this answer? The limiting reactant is the reactant that is consumed completely, or is consumed first, or is used up completely, or it is used up firstly. So you see, I give you so many definitions for the limiting reactant. So just to be sure that I'm reading the question is easy, and you see it is a simple questions. We didn't use Shakespeare language. No, it is simple. The limiting reactant is the product that is consumed first. How it should be? Product should be produced, but the doctor here told me consumed. Means the doctor will tell you at the same time you go left and right. So what I will do? I will stop. Type here is wrong. Type. The empirical formula of benzene. First of all, this one. This one is sugar, and here tell me benzene. So it is wrong. I suppose the student didn't take care about this name. So C2, C6, H12O6. And we have seen what is the difference between the empirical formula and the chemical formula. So the empirical formula will give you the lowest ratio. So the lowest ratio will be what? C, H2O, and not CHO2. So this one is completely wrong. The last question, it is a cup of tea, homogeneous mixture. The theoretical yield is measured after the experiment. Completely wrong. Why? Because the theoretical means what? In theory means what? After the calculation, after the limiting reactant is consumed. So the theoretical yield is not measured, is calculated using what? Using my chemical equation. So this one is wrong. How I correct this one will be the actual yield or the experimental yield is measured after the experiment. صح أم لا? Now we go to the next one. Here an example. Here he asked me to give examples. So this question is a cup of tea, is a gift. You see some of them, almost all of them are gifts. But it seems that the students did not like gifts. Hopefully you will like the gifts. Here, give an example of the following. 2 marks or 1 mark, I don't know how much, but doesn't matter. Or he gave me a pure substance. Oh, khalas already, doctor. Now I can answer the question directly. A pure substance means what? It could be a compound or it could be an element. An example of the element, all the elements from the periodic table. And the simple one is, for example, sodium. This is an example of pure substance. Pure substance also could be what? Could be a compound. The simple one, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. So this is an example. You can write here all the chemical compounds, all the elements from the periodic table. But I don't have to think a lot. I just get from the periodic table all the elements. Now ask me here, polyatomic anion. Polyatomic anion means is an anion that it is formed of more than 1 atom. It will be simple. Why? Our friends in the practical, carbonate and hydrogen carbonate. Could be CO3 2 minus or hydrogen carbonate minus 1. صح أم لا? Why here I call it hydrogen carbonate? Because this is the root, is carbonate, and I add hydrogen, so it will be hydrogen carbonate. It is an anion, so here 2 minus and here minus 1 because the proton has +1, the hydrogen. Another example, nitrate, sulfate, phosphate, borate, all they should have what? ATE and not IDE for the monoatomic anion. Here an example. NO3 minus 1, SO4 minus 2. You have plenty. You see, from the exam itself, you can find the answer. Give me an example of molecular compound. Oh, hang on, doctor. In the true and false, calcium chloride, we said that it is ionic compound because it's formed of metal and non-metal. Molecular compound should be formed of non-metal and non-metal. The easy one, it is compounded alma, H2O. Carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, dinitrogen tetraoxide, whatever you like. But the simple one is H2O. Now he asked me, the monoatomic cation means a cation that it is formed only of 1 atom. This question also is a cup of tea with the ice, melted. Why I said you with melted? Because if it is a cube of ice in my cup of tea, it will be heterogeneous mixture, not homogeneous mixture. So an example of monoatomic cations, all the cations from my periodic table for the metal elements. Also, from the metal elements, because he asked me cation and the charge should be plus. And the easy one, sodium, sodium plus. Your friend will tell me, but doctor, how about the chloride? Is wrong. Why? Because this one is an anion, is not a cation. Even though it is formed of 1 atom, monoatomic. But he asked me here, a cation. Keep in your mind that in nature there is only 1 cation as polyatomic cation, which is the NH4+. Type, simple, homogeneous mixture, cup of tea or orange juice. Type here. We go to to question number. We go to question number 2 first of all. Here he asked me, how many atoms are present in 171 grams of aluminum sulfate? How many atoms of aluminum? I'm sure you have seen this one in chapter number 3. So now, if he asks me how many atoms, what relation I will use? I will use the Avogadro number, the mole. Will tell me that 1 mole of aluminum has 602 10 powered 23 atoms of aluminum. So now the question will be, how many, I have to find what? How many moles of aluminum are in 171 grams of aluminum sulfate? Oh, hang on, doctor. This compound is not strange for me. Why? Because we have seen this one in question number 2, when we find what? The mass percent of oxygen. So I know the atomic mass of this compound. It is 342 grams per mole. Allahu Akbar, I save time. I suppose I forget this one. How to calculate the molar mass of this compound? Will be equal 2 times the molar mass of aluminum plus 3 times the molar mass of sulfur plus 12 times the molar mass of oxygen, and will give me 342 grams. So the question here will be, in 171 grams of aluminum sulfate, here I give you the method, which I call it the turtle method, طريقة السلحفاة, step by step. How many moles I will have in 170 grams of aluminum sulfate? There is, or I have 175 divided by 342, 0.5 moles of aluminum sulfate. I don't need the calculator, I don't need anything. Now, I find how many moles of aluminum sulfate. The question is, how many atoms of aluminum I have. To find how many atoms of aluminum, of course, I need to find how many moles of aluminum. So, one of your friend, he will empty this one. He will tell me, Doctor, hang on. Here I have 0.5 moles. So, in 0.5 moles, I will have X mole. And X will be the cross product. So, X will be equal 0.5 multiply by 602 10 powered 23 atoms. From this relationship, he will be happy. But his happiness is shortly. Why? Because what you wrote here is wrong. Why it is wrong? In my chemical formula, how many aluminum I have? In 1 mole of aluminum sulfate, I have 2 moles of aluminum. So, in 0.5 moles of aluminum sulfate, I will have 0.5 multiplied by 2. And here it will be multiplied by 2 atoms. If you ask me, for example, how many moles of sulfur, how many atoms of sulfur, it will be 0.5 multiply 602 10 power 23 multiplied by 3. Why? Because I have 3 moles of sulfur. And he asked me how many atoms of oxygen. I have to multiply by 12 because in 1 mole of aluminum sulfate, I have 3 multiplied by 4. I have 12 moles of oxygen. Correct. Do we need here to make a calculation? Do we need to use the calculator? No. Why? Because 0.5 multiplied by 2 la ilaha illallah will give me 1. And my answer will be equal what? 6, 0 to 10 powered 23 atoms of aluminum. Check your lecture and your slides, and we did this example using sugar. It doesn't matter if I understand. So first of all, I need to convert the mass to number of moles of my compound, and then I have to read carefully how many moles of each element are in 1 mole of my compound, and خلاص finish, I can solve my problem. And he asked me here what? The atoms. Sure, I will use Avogadro number. I have only one relation between 1 mole and Avogadro number. Clear. This one also is a cup of tea. The last question, number 3 and 4, they are cup of tea with mince. بالنعناع المغربي أو بالنعناع الأحسائي, because I will enjoy drinking it. Convert minus 73 Kelvin to degree Celsius. So simple. I know Kelvin equal 273 plus degree Celsius. Means what here? That the degree Celsius will be equal Kelvin, will be equal Kelvin without the degree. It will be Kelvin minus 273. Will be equal what? Minus 73 minus 273. Will be equal minus 346 Celsius. In the last semester, or in the previous semester, so many problems the students, they do have. Why? Because they think that minus 73 Kelvin does not exist. So they change it 73. Why minus 73 Kelvin does not exist? Because I cannot reach the absolute zero, and the absolute zero is 0 Kelvin. But here you got minus 73, just you apply your rules and you substitute by the value. Don't make ijtihad. Don't think. Just I substitute the value. Because when you will think, you will use 1 mark. And it is worse to use this 1 mark. No, it is a gift. We go to the second gift. Question number 4. This is remind me for the last version, the last question of a true and false. The actual yield, the theoretical yield, and automatically will be what? The reaction yield. What is the percentage yield of this reaction? Will be equal to the actual yield divided by the theoretical yield. Check your slides. Multiply by 100. خلاص. Here I don't have to do anything. Just substitute. The theoretical yield is always greater than the actual yield. Could be 36. What is the experimental yield? And the true and false ask me the actual yield. They have the same meaning. So it is 18. Multiply by 100. This one will be equal what? Do I need a calculator? No. Why? Because 18 is half of 36. So it is 50%. Wassalamu alaikum. You see, sometimes I don't need to use the calculator. No need. I'm sure, yes, you can do it. Problem to solve. The problem to solve, inshallah, it will be in the next recording video. Why? Because you need time to digest what we have seen previously. And then see you later, inshallah. Wassalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.